I'm Carrie Peters, a recognized thought leader in the Microsoft Dynamics community and a Microsoft MVP for business applications. Welcome to the Get Your New View podcast. Keep listening to learn how we work with frustrated Business Central and NAV users who struggle to use their system and find the answers that they need. We teach them to truly understand how the system can support their business processes to make immediate and lasting improvements. As a result, they get more done in less time, make better business decisions, and even love their system. Welcome to this episode of the Get Your New View podcast. Today, I have a special guest, Cari Corozza, who is our accounting manager, a consultant, and a trainer for our company. And she's here to talk to us today about reminders as a phase 2 project. Cari, why do companies put off putting reminders into place until phase 2?
So my answer for this one is going to be that I think a lot of companies and users don't know about reminders, or even if they've come across them in the system, they don't know how awesome they are. So I think that this is probably one of the most underutilized finance features available to us in Business Central.
So what do companies not know about this feature? What's the secret?
The secret, I will tell you, is that reminders are better than statements. So you might be familiar with a customer statement. They get sent out all the time. I worked in accounts payable, for different companies, and I've seen statements come in every single day. So basically a statement is going to lay out every open item that you have from that vendor, whether it's overdue, whether it's current. And the intent is that the person that's in accounts payable is going to look at that statement and say, oh yeah, this invoice has been entered but not paid. This one's been entered but paid. This one's sitting in my stack to enter. This one I don't have. But unfortunately, that's not the reality of it because, people are just too busy. So what reminders do is they remind customers that they have overdue balances. So if I send you a statement, you might just kind of file it away and say, we probably have all the invoices. If I send you something saying, hey, Cari, you owe us this money. We just want to remind you that this is overdue. Please make payment as soon as you can. You're probably going to pay more attention to that than a statement. So the nice thing about reminders is that they can have different levels as well. So with a statement, usually we're just sending one, format of a statement with everything listed. But with reminders, we can have as many different levels as we want. But let's say, for example, we have 3 levels. The first level, we want to say, okay, at 5 days overdue, we want to gently remind the customer, hey, we just want to let you know that you have these invoices that are overdue. Kind of give them the benefit of the doubt and say, if you've already paid these, disregard. Otherwise, please send payment as soon as possible. Then maybe 10 days after that, we want to, do a little more stern reminder and say, hey, this is our second notice to you. Please pay these as soon as possible. Maybe on that third one, that's where we actually want to say, hey, if you don't pay these within the next 30 days, we're going to send your account to collections. So the ability to have those different levels and that different wording is really cool. And we don't get that with statements. And then the other thing I love about reminders is that you can actually assess interest or finance charges on overdue invoices. So if you have a customer who is still ignoring your reminders and they are paying consistently late, you have the ability to add those finance charges because, in my experience, finance charges and interest will definitely make a customer pay attention to your invoices.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. I know that when I was a controller, I used to tell my accounts payable folks to throw statements away because I wanted them to manage payables to the invoice and not waste their time on the statements. But it would get my attention if we got a reminder. So I think this is incredibly effective. And I love the different messages and the levels. Do you have phase 2 projects that have been on your to-do list for way too long? Did your team ever really get good training to understand how to use your business software? Do you think you could use more features of your software if you just knew how? Are you frustrated with inefficiency that never seems to get better? Do you suspect that there just has to be a better way, but you don't know what that is? We believe every company can benefit from increased efficiency and higher utilization of their software, and that it's possible to have fun while learning exactly how to do that. The experts at New View Strategies work with frustrated Business Central and NAV users who struggle to use their system and find the answers they need. We teach them to truly understand how the system can support their business processes to make immediate and lasting improvements. As a result, They get more done in less time, make better business decisions, and even love their system. Please contact us at getyournewview.com to get started. Now, I know you worked on a project for one of our customers related to reminders recently. How difficult was it to put that into place for them?
It's actually very, very simple because Business Central gives you some kind of reminder templates out of the box. So you could actually go in and assign those reminder terms to the customer, create and issue your reminders in less than just a couple minutes.
Love it.
Yeah, very simple. I think the thing that people sometimes spend more time on is they want to make sure that the wording they're putting in their email and the reminder is custom to their company. So I actually helped implement reminders for a company who had both companies in Canada and the US, and they had for-profit and nonprofit companies. So with this, they were actually able to create different reminder terms for their international, for profit versus nonprofit, and they were able to assign these to the customers. So their nonprofit customers would get certain reminders with very specific wording, because I think they also had government regulations around their type of company where they maybe had to give customers 60 days before they could even threaten to put their account on hold. So they had different wording for these different customers. I think they also ended up doing reminders in French for their customers that were in Quebec in Canada. So all sorts of cool things with the reminders. And we did need to get their partner and developer involved at some points just to help us change maybe the email body or the translation to French. But for the most part, they were able to set all of that up themselves, which was pretty cool.
That's great. So what are the top things that companies should do to prepare for a project like putting reminders into place?
Yeah, I think one of the things that companies actually don't realize until they create the reminders the first time is you might need to actually go in and clean up your accounts receivable. So a lot of the time, we create reminders for a customer and they look and they say, oh, well, this is a credit balance that should have been applied, or what's this invoice here? So just looking at what those outstanding balances are and making sure that they're current and correct, because you're going to look really silly if you send a reminder to a customer and for some reason you have the information wrong, or they have a credit balance or something like that. So just making sure that those accounts are cleaned up. And then I think also start thinking about what you want that wording to be to those customers. How many different levels do you want to warn them that they have overdue invoices? So kind of getting a hold on what you want that message to the customers to be.
Makes sense. So how does NewView make it easy to implement reminders as a phase 2 project?
We actually have a really nice flow chart that outlines kind of the process of how reminders work, all the way from creating the reminder terms to issuing or canceling that final reminder. So we can help in adjusting the different levels, the wording, helping test as well, because one of the things that people often forget is if you are emailing these reminders to customers, you don't want to accidentally be emailing someone if you're just testing. So making sure that that setup is in place, either in a sandbox or production environment, to email someone internally in the company to be able to check everything rather than someone externally. So just kind of working through that whole process and best practices with reminders as well. And then also advising on how often to do them, how to filter out customers that you don't want in there. Do you want a minimum amount? Do you want to add interest? There's so many different options with reminders that you can absolutely set them up by yourself. But if you want to know kind of, the in-depth details on each of those options, that's where we can help.
I love it. If you're listening to this episode and this sounds interesting to you, contact us today. It's super easy. Just send a quick email to info@getyournewview.com and we'll set up a quick 30-minute call to talk about how you can get phase 2 projects like this done at your company. Did your team ever really get good training to understand how to use your business software? Do you think you could use more features of your software if you just knew how? Are you frustrated with inefficiency that never seems to get better? Do you suspect that there just has to be a better way, but you don't know what that is? We believe every company can benefit from increased efficiency and higher utilization of their software, and that it's possible to have fun while learning exactly how to do that. The experts at NewView Strategies work with frustrated Business Central and NAV users who struggle to use their system and find the answers they need. We teach them to truly understand how the system can support their business processes to make immediate, and lasting improvements. As a result, they get more done in less time, make better decisions, and even love their system. Please contact us at getyournewview.com to get started.